Chicago, in my opinion, is probably one of the best cities in the country. Here in Chicago, we've got a little bit of everything for everyone. But if you've never been here to Chicago, I'm going to go over a few things you might want to know before coming here. My name is Carl Snell, and I help people buy and sell homes right here in the city. If you have any questions, if you want to get in contact with me, my information is down below. Also, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos that I put out. So what are some things that you want to know before moving to Chicago? The first thing that you want to know is that Chicago is on a grid system. And that means that all the streets in Chicago are numbered based on how far they are away from Madison Street and State Street. Madison runs east and west, State runs north and south. Now we do have a few streets that run slanted, but the two biggest streets are going to be Milwaukee and Ogden. And for anyone that has just come to Chicago, they can tell you how confusing driving down Milwaukee or Ogden was the first time because they run against the grid system. So let's just say that, you're in Chicago, you're driving, you get turned around and you really can't figure out where you are. The easiest way to figure out where you are in Chicago is you have to know that all of the buildings are on the east side of the city. So the buildings are next to the lake, which is east of Chicago. So all you have to do is just look out the window and know that you're facing east if you see the buildings. Now, there's another way to figure out how to go north and south. And the only way you can do that is say that you're facing east and you're going to use the Willis Tower as an example. You're facing east, and if the Willis Tower is on your right-hand side, that means it's south of you. So if you go right, that means you'll be going south. Now, if you look up and the Willis Tower is on the left-hand side of you, in front of you, and if you go towards the building, that means you'll be going north. So those are some ways you can kind of figure out how to get around the city. But it's really simple to get around Chicago, but just in case you get turned around, those are a few tips to help you find out where you're going. Another thing that you should know about Chicago is that Chicago is a city of parks. So in the 1830s, the Chicago government adopted a motto called Urbs in Ordo. It's a Latin phrase meaning that Chicago is a city in a garden. They also saw the importance of making sure that Chicago can be enjoyed by every person that lived here in the city, no matter where you stayed in the city. So today we have over 580 parks. So if you live on the north side, if you live on the west side of Chicago, south side of Chicago, no matter what community that you live in those areas, there's always going to be at least one or two parks that you can go to and enjoy the city of Chicago with family or with friends. Winters in Chicago can be long and cold. You can expect the temperature to drop the first week of November, and it's going to stay down until probably late March or early April. But to be honest and completely true, winter in Chicago is not as crazy as people make it out to be. Some days during the wintertime, we'll see temperatures at 50 degrees, low 40s. It's cold, but it's still not as cold as people think Chicago is. Also, it doesn't snow as much as people think too. I would probably say it'll probably snow maybe 6 times throughout a year. And that also includes like a light dusting. So it's not just, a blizzard, winter conditions, twice a week like you see on the movies. It's really just not that bad. Another thing that you have to know about Chicago winters is that, daylight saving times also ends in the first week of November. So not only can it be cold, you also have to deal with the days being, a lot darker earlier. But if you are coming to Chicago, there are going to be some things that you do want to buy before you move here, especially if you're going to be moving here in the wintertime. You definitely want to get a heavy coat. You definitely want to get snow boots. You're going to want some heavy gloves, a snow shovel. You can't survive without that. And for your car, you definitely want to get those, it's a brush and a scraper that you're going to need for your car if you need to clean off the snow from your car. So, that's one thing you definitely want to know and consider before moving to Chicago is the winter. I believe Chicago is made for foodies. Here in the city, we have just about every type of food that you can think of. Another cool thing about Chicago is that we have areas of the cities that is dedicated to certain cultures. So, here we've got 26 Michelin star restaurants. We've got 7 AAA diamond restaurants. Then we have 40 James Beard award winning places to eat. But apart from, some of the upper scale restaurants that we also have just some great down to earth places that you can go and visit and get a quick bite to eat. And another good thing is that, yes, some restaurants can be super expensive, but for the most part, the food here in Chicago is pretty cheap. So, if you're a person that really likes to explore and try different types of foods, Chicago is probably the place for you. The people of Chicago are friendly. Now, I know the reputation that major cities usually have is that people are rude and they only think about themselves. But here in Chicago, people are usually nice. In my experience, if I were to drop something, if I were to speak to a person, if something were to happen, people will help you out here in Chicago. Another thing that you want to know about Chicago is that, Chicago is a down-to-earth city. In other cities, from I've heard, I don't know if it's necessarily true, is that, you have to go outside and, look your best and everything. But here in Chicago, you can step outside in a t-shirt and sweatpants and go to the grocery store and everything is going to be fine, right? But, I know that once you are looking to go to a major city, people say that, most people are rude, but here in Chicago, people do help out and look out for one another if they know you or if they don't. So that's one good thing that I really do love about being in this city. I do appreciate you watching my video, coming to my channel. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos, any market updates, or any other things that I put out. Until next time, I'll see you soon.